So right now, had you waited for a dip, had you waited for a dip in SPY of like 10-20% over here, you probably wouldn't have got it anywhere around here. Like this thing's been moving up for the whole year. And I'm sure you've probably heard people saying that, hey, the S&P 500 really hasn't been doing good or whatever. Bro, it's literally been rocketing the whole time. So let's say you had already been buying all throughout this, your average cost will probably be somewhere like, let's call it, let's say the middle, like right. Let's say your average cost will probably be somewhere around there, that red line. That means that your average cost is 634 is sitting at 682. So you've made money. The stock would have to come down about 6.5% for you to start saying, oh man, I'm down a little bit, or I'm down, I'm losing money. But if you're in this for the long term, I gave you, that's a year projection basically from May to now. We're in February, so about a year. Let's say we end up getting a correction back down to 608. That's a 10% decline. You gotta you've got to be picking up shares there at 600. When you buy the S&P 500, you're picking up the 500 largest companies in the U.S. So you got Apple, you have Nvidia in there. I mean, we can go through all of their holdings, and this is why I say, like, you know, if you're starting out right now, this is the best place to put your capital. So let's go more about the fund, right? So we're gonna look at the holdings. So you got Nvidia is number one. They got 7% of them. 7% of the fund is held by Nvidia. Apple 6.61. Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Broadcom. That's another like chips company. Meta, Tesla, JP Morgan, that's Chase. Like literally everybody has either a Chase bank account, Chase credit card, some shit like that. Eli Lilly, I know you know about them. They're based out of Indiana. They got that big ass it's not a skyscraper, but they got that big ass office building down there. I know I saw it when I went into Indy the last time I was there. So Eli Lilly, ExxonMobil. I mean, you just like you see the companies, bro. Like these are all big name companies. They ain't going nowhere. So when you buy this, like you're buying into all these companies, and there's 500 of them. So all I did was give you maybe what, top 15, top 15, top 25, something like that. So you know it's always a good time to buy this, because unless you're saying, hey, I'm losing confidence in the U.S. stocks, you don't want to like. The only way I would recommend you to not buy SPY is if the United States is crumbling. And if the United States is crumbling, we got bigger problems. I ain't gonna lie, we got bigger problems. He says, so those are basically all the companies that are in SPY. Yeah. That was 15 of the top, like that was the top 15 holdings, but there's 500 of them in there. So you've got, I mean, it's very diversified, like when you think about it. The yellow line is the trend line. Basically, you see that every time it comes back and touches this trend, like this yellow line, it's been a great time to buy. This was the COVID dip. This was the tariff dip. This was 2022 when it was dropping the whole time. I mean, every time you see that, like the market is like, oh, stocks have been selling off, it's not doing good or whatever, and you start seeing this irrational fear, that's when you as an investor, and it took me time to learn this, but that's when you as an investor want to make sure that you're buying. But like I said, dollar cost averaging and just saying, hey, I'm gonna buy every month on this day. Do it automatic. Fidelity can do it. Robinhood can do it. Stash can do it. Just do it automatic and let that do the work. And I promise you, you're gonna come back and your account's gonna be up. I can like we're going back on this chart and you can see how like it's always been going up. The only period that you probably had that was like a little skewed, like you can see here, this was the .com bubble and the great financial crisis. So basically you can see here, right, that like they're pretty much at like even line. So had you bought up here and only bought up here and never bought anywhere else down here, yeah, it would have taken you 7-8 years to recoup your money. But if you were a long-term investor, you would have kept on buying. Your average cost would have probably been somewhere down here at the end of it, and then at the turn of the decade, you would have ended up back in the green. It would have dipped one more time for you so you could really accumulate, and then now you're on this big ass run. So right now you can see, I would probably say we're overextended, but you're not gonna go against the trend. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a good time to buy, in my opinion. I'm always buying Spy. I'm always buying